Good morning. This is Fred Hadley reporting live over Facebook for the Village Century. And on this rather gray, but currently not rainy morning, we're standing in front of Congregation Torah, which was originally the administration building of Century Village, Boca Raton. But since they built the brand new clubhouse 28 years ago or so, more like 30 or 40, this has been sold to Congregation Torah, and they're currently undergoing an expansion project. And specifically, they're going to be actually, they've already started the demolition of the west wing, which would be in that direction there, in that corner. And we're going to take a little tour around the congregation and see what's going on. So once again, this is the parking lot of Century Village, Boca Raton, Florida. That's the current administration / clubhouse building. And this is the original administration building, which is now Congregation Torah. Congregation Torah is an Orthodox congregation consisting of 1,100 members, the majority of which are snowbirds. So if you're watching this up in New York or New Jersey or Rockland, we're going to give you a little tour of what's going on. So we're going to take a look through the construction fence without breaching it. And as you can see, all of the lower windows here have been knocked out, and the west wing just has two walls that are still standing. So we're going to take a little walk around. This, of course, is the rendering, and as you can see, it says coming in early 2021, and this is a CSI construction project. And by the way, we want to give a shout out to handyman Al Fixit for giving us a phone call and telling us about the partial demolition of the west wing. And here we are at the west wing. And as you can see, the entrance to the cock loft of the building. And this wall is still standing. Now, just to the right of that worker was the doorway that the SWAT team did what they call a rapid breach. There's another word for it, I can't think of it. And that's the quickest way to get into a building in a hostage situation. And they used some small explosives that blew the door out. It didn't do any more damage than that. It was very selective. What you're seeing here is intentional demolition of the west wing of Congregation Torah.
Where are you right now, or is this on this pile?
This is a 3/4 view. And now we're going to go around and get to the north wall, or what used to be the north wall. And that's the wall that faces our second religious institution here in Century Village, Boca, and that would be Temple Beth Shalom, which I believe they refer to as a conservative organization. So here we are at the back, and as you can see, the wall is completely down, and you can see inside, I guess it's called the front end loader or something like that. So once again, if you're just joining us, this is Fred Hadley. We're reporting live over Facebook for the Village Century. And you're looking at the partial demolition, intentional, of the west wing of Congregation Torah Or inside Century Village, Boca Raton. As we pointed out before, this used to be the administration building, and they had some model apartments, I'm told. This was also the site, well, behind this building, of a community master antenna, which they needed back in '78 when Century Village opened because there was no cable. And I gather that pulled in the signals from West Palm Beach, and they were transmitted around the village from just behind this building. There's still some concrete remnants of where the antenna tower used to stand. All right, so that's about it. There's really not too much to show on the rest of the building. We'll just take one last look, go around looking at this is, by the way, is a $2 million approximately project, and it's funded completely by donations from the members of the congregation. Many of whom live in the adjoining associations of Ainsley, Yarmouth, Wolverton, and Brighton, because that's within walking distance of Congregation Torah Or. So that's it for now. Fred Hadley, we're standing in front of the partly demolished west wing of Congregation Torah Or, where they're currently undergoing a multi-million-dollar expansion project to make, I believe, a larger auditorium and a larger lobby. And that's supposed to be completed sometime next year. And there you have it. Reporting live over Facebook, this is Fred Hadley for the Village Century outside of Congregation Torah Or, facing the Lyons Road side of Century Village, Boca Raton. Stay safe, wear your mask, look forward to the new gym, which I think is just waiting for a certificate of occupancy. I think all the work is done. I know for a fact that the machines have been moved back from the party room into the gym, and that's great news. I believe, from what I'm told, that it will be on an appointment basis in order to control the capacity, and that would be the new gym we're talking about. It's in the same location as the old gym. They broke through the rear walls where the former billiard room and mirrored aerobics room once stood, and they've now made it one huge space and preserved every one of the 7 windows that make that place such a great place to work out. Reminding everybody that early voting has started, and you can only do that of one of, I think it's 18 locations throughout the county. You cannot do early voting here in Century Village. There's no early voting here. The closest early voting site would be the West Boca branch of the Palm Beach County Library System, and that is located on State Road 7, 441, just north of Yamato Road. And bring your photo ID, and the voting is supposed to be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that started yesterday. It goes for 2 weeks. The last date of early voting will be November 1. There will be no voting on November 2. That's when they move all the machines around to the precincts. Now, the precinct for Century Village is right here at your clubhouse. It'll be in the party room. Masks will be required. And a little action here. Bring of course, your photo ID. A voter registration card is not considered valid ID for voting purposes, by the way. It should be a driver's license or a passport, something with a signature specimen. And regardless of which party you're voting for, the important thing is you vote. We want a huge, huge turnout this year in Century Village. When the politicians see that we vote in large numbers, they listen to us. If you stay home and don't vote, they figure, why should we go over there? So do your voting. Now, if you haven't already sent your mail ballot in, I would recommend doing it as soon as possible. We're now 2 weeks away from Election Day. And after you mail in your mail ballot, which I'm going to do, I trust completely in the mails. But it's the old expression, trust your friends but cut the cards. 2 days after I mail it in, I go to pbcelections.org. That's pbcelections, plural, .org. And I click on your status, or my status, or status. When you click on status, you'll be asked to enter your first name, your last name, and your date of birth. Once that's done, you will be taken to a page which will tell you your voting status. If they've received your ballot, which they scan the barcode as soon as you mail it, as soon as they receive it, you will get a message that we have received your ballot. If it's still in the mail or you haven't mailed it, the message will be ballot sent to voter. So you can absolutely know with confidence. Now, what happens if 2-3 days later you don't see that there's any receipt of your ballot? Well, there's still time to request another mail ballot, but that's getting a little dicey. So what I would do in that case is go over to the library on State Road 7 in Yamato and vote in person. Explain to them that you mailed in your ballot, but you cannot acknowledge it. And they will check right on the spot on their iPad and say, right, we haven't gotten it. Now, they might want to give you what they call a provisional ballot in that case, which means if they don't get the first ballot, then they'll count the provisional. So don't argue with them, but they'll make sure that your vote is counted, even if it's after the election. Those are what they call provisional, or let's say a signature doesn't match or something like that. So that's really about it. The election will be on Tuesday, November 3rd. The voting will be right here in Century Village for Century Village residents only. And the voting hours will be 7 in the morning till 7 at night. Generally, the mornings are the busiest time, so you want to avoid that. The best time to vote is usually in the 3 to 7, late afternoon. And what I found, now I don't know about this year because they're expecting turnouts, if you get there 6:45, it's empty because everybody's waiting to go home and eat or whatever. Now, as long as you get on that line by 7 p.m., even if the line is around the block, they have to allow you to vote, even if you don't actually vote until 8 or 9. But once 7 o'clock arrives, they usually put one of their people on the end of the line and say no more on this line. But anybody online at 7 will definitely be allowed to vote. Remember, bring your photo ID, driver's license, passport. They might accept your Century Village card, but I don't know if there's a signature on that card, so best is to stick with the driver's license or the passport. Okay, so, and the other good news is that the recreational fee that we pay to SunWest next year, for the first time in the history of Century Village, are you sitting down, folks, is going down. We want to give our hats off to the administration and to the Management and Operations Committee for recognizing the fact that some of us felt that there was a saving being accrued because of the curtailment of amenities. Use of electricity is down. Rooms are not open, so they're not using the lights. The showers are not running, so they're not running too much hot water. Anyway, it's never happened before, but next year, starting January 1st, the recreational fee will drop, go down, reduce, diminish by $2.73 per month per unit. So, on this dismal day, in this dismal year, under this dismal sky, there is one glint of good news. We'll save money a little bit next year. Thank you very much. Again, this is Fred Hadley reporting live over Facebook outside the partially demolished west wing of Congregation Torah, which is undergoing a multi-million-dollar renovation program. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please leave a comment. And if you have any questions, we promise we'll answer it. Thank you.